Good evening and welcome to the March 22nd, 2024 meeting of the Gaston County Board of Commissioners. My name is Chad Brown, and I serve as the chairman of the board as well as serve as the commissioner of the Riverbend Township. I would like to welcome our viewers and thank Spectrum Cable and AT&T for making this possible for our citizens. For our television and live stream audience, I would like to present our Gaston County Commissioners, beginning on my far right.
Good evening, I'm Ronnie Worley, South Point Township.
Good evening, I'm Kathy Conover, Dallas Township.
Kim Johnson, Gastonia Township.
Bob Hovis, Crowders Mountain Township.
Good evening, Tom Kigger, Gastonia Township.
Thank you all, and Commissioner Fraley is representing the commission at a Longleaf Pine Award tonight at the River Country Club. If you'll please rise for the invocation given by Commissioner Hovis, and then the Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Commissioner Ward.
If you will, please bow with me. Gracious Father, as we come into this special season, let's all be mindful of what you have given to us and recognize what we should be a part of giving to others, recognizing those in need, recognizing those who need a special hand, even if it's just a voice of encouragement or whatever. We can always do something to make the lives of others we know better. Father, continue to enrich us and help us to enrich the Gaston County citizens. And we ask that in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
If you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Break a leg.
I will now open it up with Commissioner Hovis, who will be reading a proclamation to serve March 2024 as American Red Cross Month here in the county of Gaston. And, Commissioner Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I get Mr. Scott Lattermelt to join me and anyone else that you'd like. Anyone else from the Red Cross that would like to join us up here, please. Absolutely. Come on. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Thank you, Scott. Good to see you. Certainly, certainly. We have a proclamation in reference to the month of March as Red Cross Month. Whereas Gaston County believes the Red Cross Month is a special time to recognize and thank our everyday heroes, those who reach out to help their neighbors when they're in need, and whereas the American Red Cross heroes are on the front lines every day, they volunteer their time, give blood, take life-saving courses, or provide financial donations to those who are in need. And whereas we would like to remember our heroes here in Gaston County who give to help people in need, they work tirelessly to help in times of disaster, when someone needs life-saving blood, or the comfort of a helping hand. They provide round-the-clock support to those in need. And whereas across the country and across the world, the American Red Cross responds to hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and wildfires. Gaston residents continue to strive for the betterment of its people and to provide for a direction of the future by creating and opening doors of opportunity. And whereas during these difficult times, we call upon all of you to help create a better community. We dedicate the month of March to all those who support the American Red Cross mission to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Gaston County Board of Commissioners that the month of March 2024 to be recognized as American Red Cross Month in Gaston County, and we hereby urge all residents to take note of this observance and to encourage all Americans to support this organization and its noble humanitarian mission. This to be adopted the 26th day of March 2024. And if you haven't given blood, you need to give blood because you're saving a life somewhere. I have been a donor for the last 43 years, and I'm proud to say that I am, and I try to give each of my every 8 weeks unless I give doubles, and then they penalize me another week or two. But this is important. It's something all of us can do. It takes about an hour. If you pre-register, and I encourage everybody to participate with that effort. Mr. Ladeville, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank all of you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm glad to be here. And I have with me those heroes, some of those heroes, and I want to say a couple of things about them and what they do on a daily basis. My name is Scott Loudermilk. I'm the Executive Director of the American Red Cross Blue Ridge Piedmont Chapter, and I'm also a resident of Gaston County. So, you know, tonight we're here with community heroes, and let me tell you what these people do. They serve hundreds and hundreds of Gaston County citizens every year. They go out in the middle of the night. I have to put my glasses on. To assist neighbors in their worst times. They support our men and women of the armed forces. They train community, including children, in how to be prepared for disaster. They install free smoke alarms. And if you need a free smoke alarm, just give us a call. We'll come out. They organize blood drives. And they help family, and they deploy all around the United States in large disasters as well. So they're truly some of the best people that I've ever been around. And I want to thank them, and please, if you could give them a round of applause, that'd be great. Thank you very much, and Dr. Eagle, she is our chairman this year, so thank you for your work.
Thank you. Next proclamation will come as a certificate of recognition to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the North Gaston High School Great Go Wildcats class of 1974. Miss Pearl, if you'll step up there, Miss Cloninger, it'd be all.
It is my honor tonight to present this. On behalf of the Gaston County Board of Commissioners, hereby presents a certificate of recognition on this day, March the 26th, 2024, to the North Gaston High School class of 1974 and celebration of its 50th class reunion to be held on Saturday, April the 13th, 2024. And we have with us Dr. Pearl Burris Floyd to accept, as well as to make any comments that she would like to make. Thank you. You're so welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Cloninger. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chair, and all commissioners. 50 years is a long time. I know I don't look it, and I don't feel it, but I feel ever so grateful to have the opportunity to speak for my class today. We have about 70 members of this class who will be celebrating 50 years of Wildcat Mania. So we're very, very happy, very, very proud. We thank you for this certificate. Individuals will be putting this in a place of honor because it comes from our commission, and it states that we have survived and thrived for 50 years. And so we're very, very honored, very, very happy that you all showed this to us. And I'll be happy to take this over to the class. And they're going to be very surprised because unless they're listening to this presentation, they won't know that they're going to get it. So I thank you so very much. And if you would do me the honor of having a picture made with all of you. And our very own Commissioner Kathy Cloninger, if you would come down with me and stand, I would greatly appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, they don't know what that Wildcat Pride's about, but 2014 class here.
It's okay.
Some of y'all just got that. It's all right. Thank you, Ms. Bird. We like the Red Raiders. If you guys don't know, Commissioner Worley was a Red Raider class of, I think it was 74 as well. The commission will take citizens' comments in 7 public hearings. Comments will be taken on the following issues: zoning map change, REZ-169, zoning map change, REZ-170, zoning map change, REZ-171, zoning map change, REZ-172, incentive grant for Tectonic, incentive grant for Trail Bridge and residential will be on the agenda, an incentive grant for Project Sun, SON. We have pulled the incentive grant for Project Upcycle for tonight. Other reasons with the state. I would also like to announce at this time that the public hearing for Project Upcycle is being pulled and will be from tonight's agenda until further notice when the state can get us back in that ballgame. Before we begin, let me outline the rules of procedure. Citizens wishing to make comment will recognize by the chair, and citizens will step to the microphone for their comments. Citizens will state their name and address for the phone number. For the record, comments are limited to 3 minutes. All questions shall be directed toward the chair for response. The chair shall rule on all points of order. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion to
Second.
go into public hearing. Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. All in favor? We are now in public hearing. The County Commission will now take comments on public hearing zoning map change REZ-169. John Folk, the applicant. I will now ask Ms. Peyton Ratchford, Planning to Builder and Development Service, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Ratchford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. REZ-24-01-25-00169 is a general rezoning request for parcel ID number 192177, located at 2320 South Point Road in Belmont. The applicant is John Lewis Folk, and the request is to generally rezone from the C1 Light Commercial Zoning District with CH Corridor Highway Overlays to the C3 General Commercial Zoning District with CH Corridor Highway Overlays. The parcel is 3.99 acres. This vicinity map shows that the subject parcel is along South Point Road in Belmont in the southeastern portion of the county. This area is mostly county areas with sporadic areas of City of Belmont city limits. This ortho photo shows the current site as it operates as a lawn care landscaping business. Surrounding properties include commercial businesses such as storage facilities and the Plant Allen Duke Energy Power Plant, as well as single-family homes. The zoning map shows that the surrounding zoning districts include C1, C3, I3, and R1. The subject property falls within a small commercial pocket of South Point Road. In 1999, the subject property was approved for the existing use today, a landscaping business shop. During approval, it was classified under the lawn and garden center use, as that was the best fit under the existing ordinance at that time. The proposed zoning district, C3, general commercial, would allow for the current use, and it is a better reflection of the existing condition of the property today. If approved, any uses in the C3 zoning district would be permitted in accordance with standards and regulations as adopted in the UDO. This map shows who was notified about tonight's public hearing. Staff mailed public notices on March 11th, and a sign was placed on site on March 8th, all in accordance with general statutes. This is the property owner's information for those that received a mailed notice. Staff has not yet received any phone calls about this request. As for utilities, this property has a private septic system and is served by the City of Belmont for water. The site is directly upon South Point Road, which is an NCDOT maintained road. The subject parcel is in Area 4, the Garden Gaston, Southeast Gaston area of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Key issues for citizens in this area include road improvements and better connectivity to other areas of the county, another bridge crossing the Catawba River, increased walkability and connectivity between communities, and continued coordination amongst local government agencies. The future land use designation is suburban development. This land use typically consists of single-family residential areas that exist around commercial pockets representing a standard suburban center. This would resemble subdivisions built around services for those communities. Suburban centers also include multifamily houses and support services as well. These centers are larger than the rural centers and tend not to serve a significant civic or commercial purpose aside from the immediate neighborhood needs. The county's TRC reviewed this project and had no comments at this time. The Gaston, Cleveland, Lincoln MPO stated there are no funded transportation improvement projects in the immediate vicinity of this site. However, the widening of South Point Road to a 4-lane divided facility is included in the MPO's CTP, and according to the 2050 MTP, there will be a widening of NC 2273 or South Point Road. For further information, the MPO letter is included in your packet. The Planning Board recommended approval of this request by a 6-0 vote and found this request is a reasonable request and in the public interest and is consistent with the goals of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan, as the parcel will remain commercial within this suburban development area and support immediate neighborhood needs such as lawn services. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Bradford. Any comments from the applicant at this time who wishes to speak? Any citizens wishing to comment at this time on this matter? Any questions from the Board of Commissioners? If there are no comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. Just to recap, the Planning Board recommended approval of this issue to be 6-0 and approved unanimously. Is there a motion on the table for this?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Worley, seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Mr. Joy, will you please provide a consistency statement?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Just as a point for the record, this was approved by the Planning Commission, and it is part of the motion that the commissioners have made. So if I may, I will hand this to the clerk.
Thank you, sir. The Gaston County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing zoning map change REZ-170. Kathy Forsheely is the applicant. Ms. Laura Hamilton, Planning 3, Building and Development Services, provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. REZ 24-01-31-00170 is a general rezoning request from Kathy Forshee Lee for parcel ID 308207. The address for this parcel is 6231 Dallas Cherville Highway. It is located east of Dallas, east of Cherville, approximately 0.85 of an acre parcel. The request is to rezone the entire parcel. This first map shows that the parcel is approximately 3/4 of a mile east of Cherville on the Dallas Cherville Highway, about halfway between St. Mark's Church Road and Tryon School Road. The aerial map shows that the parcel is developed and surrounded by residential uses. The surrounding houses are a mixture of site-built homes and manufactured housing. The existing structure had been a store for at least 60 years. It continued as a convenience store before and after adoption of zoning in 1992. It was closed in 2017 and listed for sale in 2019. The gas island canopy had been removed when the previous brand was no longer sold. Under section 3.5.1, non-conforming principal uses of the UDO, the use could not be reopened in the R1 zoning district due to the time frame that it had been closed. The subject property is zoned R1, single-family limited zoning district with the CH corridor highway overlay. The applicant is requesting to rezone the parcel to C1, light commercial zoning district with the CH overlay. The abutting zoning area is zoned R1, R2 with the CH overlay. There are a couple of pockets of C1, I2, R3 in the general area along the Dallas Cherville Highway. This slide here shows the adjacent property owners who were notified of tonight's meeting. Public notices were mailed on March 8th and a sign was placed on site on March 12th in accordance with the general statutes. This is the table of the property owners who were mailed notice for tonight's hearing. The lot is served by a private well and septic and has access on the NCDOT Main Highway 279. This property is in the Area 1, Rural Gaston, Northwest Gaston, Small Area Plan of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Key issues for citizens in this area was preservation of open space, increased job opportunities. This portion of the county has extensive open spaces with rolling hills and high knolls that lead up to the mountains west of Gaston County. This area has some existing services and businesses and can be expanded as a rural development pocket in Gaston County and could continue to grow to provide sub-regional areas. The future land use designation is rural. Rural communities exemplify Gaston County and the existing natural resources that exist throughout the jurisdiction. It is understood that this is the default use designation for Gaston County. The TRC has reviewed this project and no comments at this time. The MPO comments is that the 2020-2029 STIP project W5212N is for safety improvements, including passing zones, are scheduled. The CTP shows improvement needs along Dallas-Cherville Highway, including a multi-use path. This is currently unfunded. The Planning Board heard this request on their March 4th meeting, and considering the general rezoning of this case, the Planning Board found that it is a reasonable request in the public interest and that it is consistent with the goals of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan, as it will increase economic development through the county by improving viable job opportunities as envisioned by the Rural Future Land Use designation. Rural areas are characterized by the extensive open spaces with the rolling hills and high knobs that lead up to the mountains of the West Gaston County. This area has some existing services and businesses that can be expanded as rural development pocket in Gaston County and could continue to grow and provide sub-regional center in the rural Gaston, Northwest Gaston area of the land use plan. And they recommended approval by a 6-0 vote. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. Any comments from the applicant wishing to speak at this time? Any citizens that wish to comment on this issue? Seeing none as well. Any questions from the Board of Commissioners? If there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. Just to recap, the Planning Board recommended approval of a 6-0 vote. Is there a motion on the table to approve this as the Planning Board recommended? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by
Me.
Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Mr. Joy, will you please read your consistency statement?
Yes, Mr. Chair, it was embedded in the Planning Commission as well as in the ordinance that the Commission just passed, and it was found to be consistent and reasonable, and if I may, I will hand that to the clerk.
No problem. I think if you have those on everyone, we'll just continue. You could just say we'll pass them along. We know they're already in there. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
The Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing zoning map change, REZ 171. Samuel Lee Wynn is the applicant. Ms. Laura Hamilton, Plan 3, Building and Development Services, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. REZ-24-02-06-00171 is a general rezoning from Samuel Lee Wynn for parcel ID 151880. The parcel is located at 127 White Jenkins Road in Bessemer City. The applicant is requesting to rezone 3.86 acre parcel from the RS12, single family 12,000 square foot, and the R1, single family limited zoning districts with the US overlay, urban standards overlay, to the R3, single family general rezoning district. The subject property is located in the western area of the county between Gastonia and Bessemer City. This property is currently vacant at this time. It is in a mixed residential, commercial, and industrial area in the central western region of the county. There are varying neighborhoods for both site-built homes and manufactured homes. There are several commercial and industrial type uses along White Jenkins Road, Dallas-Bessemer City Highway, Highway 275, and Bessemer City Road, Highway 274. The surrounding zoning districts in the vicinity are R1, RS12, RLD, C1, C2, I2, conditional use I2, with some US overlay. There is some of the City of Gastonia zoning of RLD, RMFCD, PD, PUD, C2, and I2 in the area. If this request is approved, any of the uses allowed in the R3 Single Family General Zoning District would be permitted in accordance with the regulations of the ordinance. This site will be served by private well, private septic systems. The site is accessed off of an NCDOT maintained road, White Jenkins Road. There is an NCDOT STIP project U6078 in this area. This project will create a cul-de-sac for White Jenkins Road at the south corner of the parcel in question onto the neighboring adjoining parcel. This map shows the neighbors who were notified of tonight's hearing. The public notices were mailed on March 8th, and the sign was placed on site March 12th in accordance with the general statutes. This table shows the property owners' information who received the mail-out notices. The subject property is located in Area 5, Scenic Gaston, Southwest Gaston of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan. The key issues in this area include road improvements and better connectivity to other areas of the county, preservation of existing conditions while allowing low to moderate growth, repurpose of vacant buildings and facilities for new economic opportunities, and increased commercial opportunities along with existing major thoroughfares. The future land use designation is rural. This designation exemplifies Gaston County and the existing natural resources that exist throughout the jurisdiction. Residential homes are located on large lots and are set back from the roads which they front. It is understood that it's also the default designation for the county. The Planning Board heard this request at their March 4th meeting, and in considering the request, they found that this is a reasonable request of public interest. It is consistent with the goals of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan as it keeps the parcel residential in nature as envisioned by the rural future land use designation. Rural areas are characterized by the green rolling hills and plenty of open space, along with farmstead-style housing. This designation exemplifies Gaston County and the existing natural resources that exist throughout the jurisdiction. Road improvements and better connectivities to other areas of the county, preservation of existing conditions while allowing low to moderate growth, repurpose of the vacant buildings and facilities for new economic opportunities, and increased commercial opportunities along the major existing thoroughfares in the scenic Gaston, Southwest Gaston area. And they also recommended approval by a 6-0 vote. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. Any comments from the applicant that wish to be taken at this time? Thank you, sir. Any citizens' comments that wish to talk about this issue at this time? Any questions from the Board of Commissioners?
Observation. Mr.
Sure.
Chair.
Commissioner Hovis.
On the third map in our packet, it shows that this parcel was as it currently sits, bears two different zoning designations.
Yes, sir.
This action obviously will correct that. I don't know that I've ever seen a particular piece of property that was split without a boundary or something by it. And that's an unusual situation, and I think this is definitely an appropriate action.
Thank you. You will see a couple more of those in the future.
I don't doubt it. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Just to recap, the planning board recommended approval 6-0. Motion made by Commissioner Kieger, seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Mr. Joy, if you please, you can read or we just pass it along. Either way, sir.
We're handing it
Thank
down,
you, sir.
Mr. Chair.
The commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing zoning map change REZ-172. Grant Phillips, the applicant. Ms. Shelby Barkley, planning technician, building and development services, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Barkley, your maiden voyage. Don't mess it up. Let's get it together.
It's my first rodeo. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. REZ 24-02-19-00172 is a general rezoning request from Grant and Amanda Phillips for parcel ID number 177359. The property is located at 124 Spratt Drive, which is located off of Old NC 27 Highway. The applicant is requesting to rezone the 4.54 acre parcel from the R1 Single Family Limited Zoning District with U.S. Urban Standards Overlay to the R2 Single Family Moderate Zoning District with U.S. Urban Standards Overlay. The vicinity map shows the parcel is located in the northeastern section of the county between spots of municipal limits for the town of Stanley and the city of Mount Holly. The parcel is currently vacant and wooded, surrounded by similar lots with existing manufactured housing on a gravel road. Tax records show that there was a manufactured home on the property, which made the structure a legal non-conforming use. Per a conversation between zoning staff and the applicant, the manufactured home was removed in January of 2023. Because the structure was not replaced within 180 days, Section 3.5.2 non-conforming principal and accessory use manufactured homes not located within a manufactured home park would not apply. The surrounding zoning districts include R1 with U.S. overlay and several parcels of Stanley ETJ and Stanley Town limits to the west. To the southeast, there are several parcels of Mount Holly city limits. If this request is approved, any uses in the R2 Single Family Moderate Zoning District with U.S. overlay would be permitted in accordance with standards and regulations as adopted in the UDO. The site utilities will be served by private well and private septic systems. As for roads, the site is along Spratt Drive, which is a privately maintained road. Spratt Drive connects to Old NC Highway 27, which is an NCDOT maintained road. This map shows who received the mailed notices regarding tonight's Board of Commissioners hearing. Notices were mailed out on March 7th, and a sign was placed at the site on March 8th, all in accordance with general statutes. This table shows the owner information of those who received the mailed notice. Staff did receive one phone call, and it was just a general inquiry. They thought that Gaston County was actually doing something on that property. We corrected that. The subject parcel is in Area 3, Riverfront Gaston, Northeast Gaston, as outlined in the Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Key issues for citizens in this area include preservation of open space, road improvements and better connectivity to other areas in the county and throughout the region, increased job opportunities, maintaining the rural feel of the area, and increased commercial opportunities. The future land use designation is defined as rural. Rural areas are characterized by green rolling hills and plenty of open space, along with farmstead-style housing, as well as agribusiness. This designation exemplifies Gaston County and the existing natural resources that exist throughout the jurisdiction. Residential homes are located on large lots and are set back from the roads they front upon. There are many opportunities for agribusiness ventures in this designation as well, including farming, landscaping, and associated nurseries, etc. It is understood that this is the default land use designation for Gaston County. The Gaston, Cleveland, Lincoln MPO staff shared that there are no planned transportation improvement projects in the immediate vicinity of this site. There were no further comments from the TRC. The Planning Board heard this request at its March 4th meeting and found it to be a reasonable request and in the public interest, and is consistent with the goals of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan, as it will maintain the rural feel of the community by keeping plenty of open space along with farmstead-style houses, as envisioned by the Rural Future Land Use Designation. Approval was recommended by a unanimous 6-0 vote. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my presentation.
I think you did a great job, young lady.
Thank you.
Any comments from the applicant at this time? Thank you. Any citizens wishing to comment on this issue? Seeing any questions from the Board of Commissioners? Since there's no additional comments, I will now declare the public hearing closed. Just to recap, the Planning Board unanimously recommended this 6-0. I will now call for a motion to approve the Planning Board's decision of unanimously passing this. Motion made by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Mr. Joy, thank you for your participation, sir. The County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing to approve Gaston County Level 2 incentive grant for North Carolina General Statute 158-7.1 to authorize the Gaston County interagreement until the local economic development agreement with Tectonic. I will now call on Mr. Donnie Hicks, the best economic director in the land. We'll provide a brief overview. Once he has completed his comments, please, citizens' comments will be taken. Mr. Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're here tonight to ask for a Level 2 grant for a project that's being done by Tectonic Development. They're based in Charlotte. We did another project with them in Gastonia last year where they built almost 200,000 square foot building. They plan to take a site on the very edge of the Gaston-Cleveland County line and build almost 280,000 square feet. So the tax value on that would be roughly $17, $18 million. And so what we're asking to do is incentivize that. This is standard to what we've done to all these other buildings. One note is that we've asked Kings Mountain to match that, and they have, to this point, decided not to. Their policy used to match ours, and now they've revised their investment program, and they will not incentivize warehouses. But this is, in my opinion, still a spec building. The other one that we built with Tectonic, we had a robotics company. We chased it all the way down to the very end, to the very, very end, when we thought we were ready to go, and it didn't make. But there's opportunities to put manufacturers in there. And we had 122 projects from the EDP&C last year we saw. And without that building, they're really not going to see any projects, because the only other building there is 1.2 million square feet. And there were only 4 projects of more than 1 million square feet in the state last year. And so we look at this more as an investment in trying to get spec buildings built. If you go back 4 years ago, the approach from the developers was they would come to us and say, I'll build a spec building for you. But if I don't lease it within 3 years, you have to buy it back from me. So we had this contingent liability of millions of dollars. We couldn't afford to do that. And that's totally flipped now. So I think it's still a good opportunity for us to provide the incentives to encourage the development and share some of the risk with them, especially on these sites that it's hard to imagine getting that much investment on this site. I'll take you out there to look at it if you don't think so. It's the highest and best use possible for that property. And so I just did want to let you know they have chosen to this point not to even consider offering the incentive, but I would still suggest it's in our best interest to do it.
I think we can work on that, and we can help you. If you'll get with me afterwards,
Yes.
I'll talk to you here in a second.
Okay.
Any citizens wishing to comment on this time? Seeing none, I'll go ahead. Any questions from the Board of Commissioners?
Quick question, if I
Yep.
may.
Commissioner
Just,
Krieger?
I don't know where, part of Kings Mountain is in Gaston County.
Yes, sir.
Is this,
It is inside
Fall
the
under
city
that?
limits. This is right above 85, between 85 and 74.
right,
It's
I know
split.
exactly where, but
Yeah.
how far in towards Kings Mountain does Gaston County go if you travel into Kings Mountain from that direction?
In that direction. So this piece is literally on the line, and if you know how the 85, 74 interchange is, it makes it like a reverse C. All that property within that C is inside Kings Mountain, and all the property on the south side of 85, all the way to the new big spec building out there, the $1,250,000. So that's everything from Bridgestone all the way down to that building is inside of Kings Mountain also.
Canterbury Road goes back about 1,400 feet where Gaston, Cleveland County ends.
And their strip is only on the front. They
correct.
annexed all the industrial strip along the south
Okay.
side of 85.
Thank you,
Does that answer your question?
and thank you, yes.
Any other questions from the board? I have one. You did say that Kings Mountain refused to participate, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, I know they've asked the board for us to participate in other things, and we were asking for some different, so we'll have the manager, if you don't mind, if you will give him a call, and we'll talk about this and the right way to do that project, and see if we can get some help on that. I appreciate it, thank you. There any other additional, no other additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. Before I do that, I want to ask Donnie, what would be their portion, roughly, on, what is their,
For tax value or value of the grant,
yeah, for the grant, just roughly, I mean,
I have to go back and calculate, but probably somewhere between $500,000 to $700,000 over a 7-year period. They're still collecting tax well
Right.
beyond what they would have as a vacant
right,
piece
I
of
just
property.
want to make sure, for the record, if we make sure that's put in there, of how much that value would be as well, toward that, because I do think, it's a great thing, because somebody's actually gonna get paid back, your money that you're gonna make on that. It's not like you're just giving it away, for that. But if there are no additional comments, I will now declare the public hearing closed. Do I hear a motion to approve? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Worley. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Oh, I'm sorry. Tom, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Oh, it was unanimous, Madam Clerk. The County Commission will now take citizens' comments. I forget which one did we pull? H? So the County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing to authorize eligibility for Tri-Bridge Residential Redevelopment Project to participate in Gaston County's local investment grant program and to approve a Gaston County Level 1 incentive grant pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 158-7.1 and to authorize Gaston County to enter into an Economic Development Agreement, EDA, with the Tri-Bridge Residential. I now ask Mr. Donnie Hicks, Director of Economic Development, to provide a brief overview. Once he has completed his comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Mr. Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a project to finish out the Luray Mill. If you're standing in front of the Luray Mill, the piece that's flat to you, the big, long, straight piece, has been renovated for a number of years. There's a section on the right-hand side that's like L-shaped that comes out that was not renovated by the original developer. And so the City of Gastonia is asking us to participate in this project. They're participating at a much higher level. We're offering them a Level 1 grant. So our grant is different from theirs. Ours is substantially less, but I think supportable. These are my words, not the developers. When you go back and look at what's happened, that section is in disrepair. And the longer we wait to do something to help them, it's going to get to almost the point of no return. And there's lead paint, the removal that has to be taken care of. There's some contaminated soil that was left there that has to be taken care of. And so I've talked to them about the additional costs that they would have for the development for those items. This would finish out the building, and I think it preserves the integrity of the previous project where the main building was renovated. You can't just leave this section forever, leave it unrenovated, and then you're going to have a problem with the entire facility. So they've asked us to help with a Level 1 grant. So that's a 5-year grant. That's our lowest level grant. The other thing, the way the resolution and our economic development agreement will be written, that's on the National Historic Register. So they have a 50% property tax reduction in perpetuity. So we will only incentivize them not on the total investment they make, not on the tax value, but only on the portion in which they pay taxes. So if they invested $30 million and we picked up $20 million in taxable value, we will only incentivize them on $10 million of it. And we figure that's somewhere in the range that it will be. We'll only incentivize the piece that they actually pay tax on. But I do think, having met with the developer and looked at the property and talked with the city, it's important to finish that project, to bring more people downtown, and to finish that building while it's still feasible. I'll be glad to answer your questions.
Thank you, sir. Any citizen wishing to take comment on this issue at this time? Seeing none, any from the Commissioner, Board of Commissioners? Commissioner Kieger.
Yeah, I think it's great that we're able to think about helping one of our municipalities, but would you be bringing this regardless of what city it was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think given the scale of this project, where it's at, the success we've had in the previous portion of it, if you don't finish this next section, it's going to hurt the previous efforts. It's going to make it more difficult to do something with it later. It's going to make it more difficult for the property to maintain its integrity over time.
And my second and last question would be, what has the county done to assist financially in that project from going back to the late 90s, early 2000s?
So one of the things that we did when it was originally, there were a number of development schemes, and obviously given the scale of it, it's 500,000 square feet. It was hard to find a use in the county for 500,000 square feet other than industrial. So there was a big lift to try to get this done. One of the things the previous developer wanted to do was to seek some federal funding. And in that funding program, you had to have a certain amount of commercial space. So we went in and leased a portion of the commercial space that was equivalent to our taxes that were being paid. So I think it was $105,000. And so we leased space at an amount of $105,000 from them to give them commercially leased space to help the underwriting of the loan. And then that burned off after a period of time.
Mr. Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I'm not mistaken, Donnie, we did the same thing with the Osage Mill Loft project, correct?
We did.
Not participate with that?
Yes, we did.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
I remember sitting in that.
Seeing none, I will declare the public hearing closed, and I will now ask for a motion to approve this Level 1 grant. That comes from Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. County Commission will now take items, we pulled that one, correct?
No,
Nope,
H.
sorry, I keep going forward. County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing to approve Gaston County Level 2 incentive grant pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 158-7.1 and authorize Gaston County to enter an economic development agreement with Project Sun. Mr. Donnie Hicks, Director of Economic Development, will now provide A brief overview, once it's completed its comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Mr. Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a project that we're pursuing. It still has 2 states and a number of sites still left in it. But in order to remain competitive, we wanted to come and ask you for incentives so that we can go back to them and say, if you choose this location, the county commissioners have agreed to incentivize this project. You're only incentivizing the personal equipment that will go into the building. The building has been built for a while. It's an existing spec building. And so this will be roughly a $15, $20 million project, somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 to 200 jobs. We're also trying to make it a rail served facility. It currently does not have rail service, but that would take a number of trucks off the road and make it even nicer for the municipality not to have those trucks out there. It also takes advantage of the short line railroad and puts more traffic on it, which we need to make it commercially viable. We'll go to this municipality and ask them in a couple of weeks to match the county's grant for that. Again, there's a number of sites, probably 3 or 4 sites still left in the mix, but we wanted to be ahead of this in case they make a decision before we can get back to you.
Thank you, sir. Are you through, Donnie? Making
Yes,
sure?
sir.
Are there any comments that wish to be taken from citizens at this time? Seeing none, are there any questions from the Board of Commissioners? None as well. Now, close the public hearing. I will thank you. Is there a motion made to approve this? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Thank you. This concludes the night's public hearing. Thank you, Mr. Hicks. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the business agenda. Are there any revisions to the business agenda or items that wish to be pulled? Seeing none, I have a few announcements. Item M, under consent, is being removed from tonight's agenda until further notice. This is related to Project Upcycle and the applicants of the North Carolina DOC grant. I would also like to point out that item U from the consent agenda has been revised to reflect the correct grant name. Chad, in case anyone asks. You should have not put that in there like that, but that's okay. The NCDHHS Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Response through the Wake Forest University Health System is the correct grant name. So do I hear a motion to approve the business agenda as presented? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. You provided a draft minutes for a regular meeting of 2/27. Are there any revisions? Do I hear a motion to approve as presented?
So move,
Motion
second.
made by Commissioner Worley, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. No citizens' comment tonight. Making sure there's no one signed up, correct? Okay. Approval of the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda with no items pulled? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Items pulled from the consent agenda, none. Items added by the majority, none. Appointments. Commissioner Worley.
No appointments tonight.
Commissioner Cloninger.
I have an appointment to Heather Britton to the Tourism Development Advisory Board.
Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Johnson.
No appointments tonight.
Commissioner Hovis.
Mr. Chair, I have one. That's to the Economic Development Commission, filling the vacancy from former Superintendent Booker, put Dr. Morgan Bouchard into that position.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Kieger.
Not at this time.
I have one for a full board appointments to the Dallas Planning Board of Adjustments. It's going to be for the ETJ and Troy Traversy. Or Traverse. Either way. Do I hear a second? Second. Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Thank you. All right, reports. Commissioner Worley.
Very brief report. Sorry about that, Mr. Chair. Yeah, as the Montcross Chamber representative, I attended their annual banquet and awards celebration last week, and it was a great event, and of course, lots of good business things happening in the Mott Cross Chamber, and continues to do well, so thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Cloninger.
No reports.
Mr. Johnson.
No reports at this time.
Mr. Hovis.
I will abstain.
Commissioner Kieger.
Just briefly, I've updated the board from time to time on the college goings-on. And yesterday morning, Gaston College was voted the #1 junior/community college in the nation. The North Carolina Association of Community and Junior Colleges. And they're on a 26-game winning streak, and they will be playing a doubleheader Saturday at Sims Park. I don't think there's any cost for it, and they also will play Saturday,
And Sunday.
not Sunday.
Just kidding. You said
They'll
they
be-
play
they'll be
Saturday
in
and
church on
doubleheader, they can
Sunday.
play Saturday on doubleheader.
Just go on with the meeting, would you?
I just have one I want to talk about. Commissioner Hovis, Commissioner Worley, and I went to a meeting with the mayors and several other town mayors around Gaston County to meet with some other regional partners to see where we can stand on a lot of things. And I want to say thank you guys for participating. Dr. Eagle was there as well. So we got to do that and participate in a friendly fashion of what was going on for that. So we learned a lot, and also want to go to County Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My report will be brief. I have 3 items to mention. First, you have a copy of the capital update from Public Works at your seat. That lists the status of all projects underway. The second item is something else that's also at your seat. That is a brochure that our emergency management staff has put together to leave with businesses when we go out to do fire inspections. We've included the fee schedule and some other pertinent information to try to help address questions that are coming in. So this is new and hot off of the press. And then the third item is in your email I sent late today, follow-up answers to the questions you all asked at your strategy session on March the 12th. We'll continue to do work on those, but I wanted to alert you that you have that in your email. That is my report.
County Attorney's report.
Very briefly, I am happy to report that we now have Deputy County Attorney Al Andrews with us, and he will be working with law enforcement and litigation.
Al, if you'll please stand up and wave to the crowd who you are. We're happy to have you. Al gets the treatment of everybody. When you're new, we like it, but welcome, sir, and we look forward to it. Today he was holding court up there, so I enjoyed getting to listen to him, but thank you so much for coming aboard. Other matters. I have 2 that I want to address real quick, and the first one being on May 14th, the runoff election will be going on inside of Gaston County. As for the Southmost Commissioner Worley's seat, as he is in running for that. But one of that I want to tell you, people are confused about who can vote for that. If you're a Republican, you can vote for that. If you're an unaffiliated voter and you didn't vote in a different fashion of the Republican Party for the Democrat Party, you are not, if you vote as a Democrat, you're not allowed, but if you're voted any other way, then you are allowed. So those are some of the changes that need to be said, because I've been getting so many emails, texts about what's going on for that. So if anybody has it, you can call the Board of Elections, or you can call up to, not to Donna Buff, but you can call over and get some information. She will pertain you over to those people at the Board of Elections, but I did want to clear that up.
A follow-up with that, it's very confusing what came out from the Board of Elections and what the Gaston Gazette reported as well. If you didn't vote in the primary at all, and you're unaffiliated or Republican, you can also vote. So
So I did want to pass that. I also wanted to pass along from our business retreat planning session that we did. A lot of information had come out, and I want to set the record straight. One of the things that we were doing at that meeting, obviously the press was there, and they sat there and they listened to everybody talk about banter and what goes on. The school system itself, as we provide different monies and entities of what's going on with that, and money for capital projects and improvements. Obviously, we know we have the Greer School addition going on right now, and that's happening. But one of the things that come out of that was about teacher supplements. And I wanted to clear this up so people understand that the Gaston County Board of Commissioners is only dedicated to providing capital needs for those type of things. This board, for the last 7 years, has provided that supplement at an increase to each teacher. Now, the problem where everybody says, oh, we can't compete with Charlotte, because Charlotte is a big entity, and I want to say they're at $9,000 or so, I think was the number. So they have a larger number. And one of the things we have to do is be like light counties and trying to do that. This board right here has dedicated itself for the last 7 years to making sure that we provide a supplement to teachers. And I want that to be understood, what we do. That is not something that this board takes lightly, because we want to make sure we do everything we can to retain every teacher we can. But we also, those are paid by the state. Those are employees of the state. So when you see those type of things, I wanted to clear up some of the confusion that happens, because this board works hard to make sure. So if you think about the things, we love teachers, and we pride ourselves on trying to make sure we get out and get around to some of the things that are going on. But I wanted to talk about that a little bit to say, hey, we have 3,300 employees, or excuse me, 1,600 employees in our system. And when we're trying to provide the supplement, that goes to 3,300 teachers in that system, so it gets bulked out a little bit. So when people use like counties such as Lincolnton or Cleveland, they don't have as many employees, so their numbers will jump on a small amount of money compared to what we give. So we've been giving money for the last 7 years. I want to say it's $500,000 every year as a step, and we're proud to do that. And the reason I say we're proud to do it is because I think when someone goes with the whipping pen of the ink to try to make sure this board is not, we pride ourselves on our own employees as well. And supplements should be provided by the state. But this board steps up every year. Dr. Eagle makes sure that she talks to the superintendent's office and what's going on. So I wanted to make sure that's clear. This board does everything they can to help provide those funds. I know a lot of people had talked about it in the election in different places, but that's something we take pride in. So I'm very happy to say this board, thank you for your dedication for the last 7 years to make sure we do that.
Mr. Chairman, may I add one thing to that?
Yes, sir.
I think we've increased it $500,000 for 9 years?
10
years. But what people don't realize, we have to sustain that every year. It's another $500,000, and we're be paying, let's see, over $5.5 million more now than we did 10 years ago. And hopefully we'll be able to continue that. But as the chairman mentioned, there shouldn't be a supplement plan. Teachers in all 100 counties and the other school systems should be paid equally. We have many counties in the state that have very little or no supplement whatsoever in the more rural counties. And over my long years up here, I've asked teachers and parents to stop beating us up as badly as they are and talk to your legislators and try to get the pay corrected. It's probably never going to happen, but we do what we can. And then on the other hand, the citizens, everybody sitting out there, nobody really wants their taxes raised to pay a higher supplement. So it's sort of, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, but we keep trying to find cuts in the budget. We keep trying, and we've lowered the tax rate 10 cents, which was about 14%, and we're still able to come up with that $500,000. Maybe we can come up with a little more this year. I don't know yet. We haven't seen the numbers, but we do, as the chairman said, we try like the dickens to try to do what we can for the teachers, because many of us have been married, have children that are teachers, have kids and grandkids in the school system. We want it to improve and grow and have the best. Well, that's my 2 cents.
Well, I appreciate you talking about it. Like I said, I wanted to clear it up because when it comes out in the paper and you have no way to rebuttal it, and obviously they don't show up tonight because they don't want to be here and they want to put that in, but they want to come to a planning session when you're talking about things over discussion. I'd rather see it happen after the budget session, but I would also not just beckon for that. We provided safety for those teachers and doing things. We provided SROs in every school in Gaston County now. We provided to make sure we have the safest schools, and Mr. Harris over there is providing everything. He's safety for the entire county his whole life. That's what he does. But and Jonathan, he's doing his. But we're prideful up here for what we do. But one thing I want to let our employees know, we're prideful as you as well. We understand that a lot of things are happening, and we're trying to do the best we can. So I try to give as much transparency and insight to our citizens, but also to our employees that we're trying really hard. Last year, we had the reval, and we got crushed over people trying to just talk about the disparity of what was happening in the market. So we said, hey, we have to take a look at what we're doing to lower the tax rate, but we still try to provide something to everybody. And as you well know, this year we're going to come back, and as this budget season comes around, we have the best staff, and Dr. Eagle, I'm very prideful to say that you guys do a great job, not the three amigos out there, but we do a great thing on our staff, and we're award-winning in a lot of different places. I know that Mark has cut down some times on what we do at gyms, and that's commendable because we have so many more. I found out today I didn't even know we didn't have 911 until ever how many years ago it was, because of the phone system and the way it was. But the county is incurring so many more things that cost money to help provide what's going on. We've been able to provide millions to help homelessness when we actually think that the fight should be done inside of what's happening in municipalities. We've been leading the way with Dr. Greer and Jonathan and his staff and trying to get all these things going for those type of things. So there's a lot out there. Wade Morton is here from Ranlow tonight, so good to always see a friendly face from a municipality that we get some things. But we have a lot of projects that go on that we put off to make sure that we can continue to provide to the citizens the best care, the best safety, the best set of schools, the best economic development, and the transportation system, and all the things that go on. So if anybody wishes to come and talk about those things, we want to make sure we be transparent to you as well. So I want to say that on behalf of this board, we're very prideful in what we're doing. So thank you for all our teachers, but also to our own employees, because you guys do a heck of a job. And I couldn't say nothing if Ray wasn't sitting back there. Ray, thank you for what you do. Many a times this year I've had to go out with Ray, and Ray don't like being with me, I can tell you. But we go out to a lot of places, and we've added to our inventory. I don't know how many square feet as far as what we have under roof just for our own, but Donnie and his staff are doing a tremendous job, and they're knocking it out of the park, and we're actually being able to help things. So thank you to everyone, and hopefully we can be that same type of. This concludes our meeting for today. Yes, sir. Anyway.
No, seriously.
The one that was at the meeting.
I thought they went out of business. Do they still publish a paper?
I don't know what they provide, but anyway, we get in trouble every time we say something bad about them, so we shouldn't discuss that. Damned if we do, damned if we don't.
I thought they were out of business.
This concludes our meeting for today. Our next work session is April 9th, 2024, here in the Harley B. Gaston Forum at 6 p.m. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please remit those to our clerk, Donna S. Buff, at 704-866-3196. Do I hear a motion to close out? Motion made by Commissioner Worley, seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Good night, Karen.